Well, it was another nail biter. 49ers 26, Saints 21. A lot in common with week one, where the 49ers had to close the game with some of their star power. Remember that Robert Saleh, back when he coached Bryce Huff with the Jets, called him Mariano Rivera, said that you need closers on defense. We didn't hear all too much from Bryce Huff through 59 minutes of this game, and then he roared around the edge to deliver that final sack on Spencer Rattler. The 49ers defense, if we're going to extend the baseball analogy in this game, had to make a 6-out save. First it was Nick Bosa with the sack to kill that first Saints drive, and then it was Bryce Huff, who they traded for with the Philadelphia Eagles to close. And, on this day, the 49ers defense struggled a lot more than they did in week one. And I think that's to be expected. I think that week one, in a way, was probably a little bit surprising for the 49ers defense and how well they played. They still had to save the game at the very end, obviously with the Nick Bosa strip sack of Sam Darnold. But today, with some of the 49ers rookie struggles, with some of the Saints' big plays offensively, it became very clear very quickly that the 49ers defense would actually have to live through some of the growing pains that we had predicted over the course of the offseason. This is more of what it's going to be like. I know that the penalty against Upton Stout, the illegal contact, probably wasn't a good call. Come ahead. Penalty against Upton Stout probably wasn't a good call for the 49ers in the fourth quarter. I know that Marquise Siegel picked up a flag for San Francisco late in this game as well. I know that the Saints took advantage with Juwan Johnson, their big tight end at 6'4" against Siegel, who's only 5'11". These are all things that the 49ers defense is going to be suspect on over the course of this season, and they're going to get better as things move forward. But when push comes to shove in this league, you have to deliver in crunch time, and that's exactly what the 49ers were able to do in this football game. Now, Mac Jones was really good on the other side. If Brock Purdy's the quarterback in this game, you can argue that the 49ers win it comfortably. You'd probably be right. There probably wouldn't be that strip sack that San Francisco suffered early in the second half when they were trying to lap the Saints coming off that great drive at the end of the first half. But that's just the way things go when you do have a backup quarterback. There are going to be good plays. There are going to be some bad plays. You're probably going to leave a little bit on the table. That is what happened for San Francisco in this football game. They did leave a little bit on the table, but they still did produce enough offensively, 26 points worth. And I thought that Mac, especially leading that 2-minute drive at the end of the first half, was superb. There was never a question that Shanahan was going to trust him. Shanahan was in full trusting mode of Mac Jones on that drive. What, a minute 20 left and 2 timeouts for the 49ers. He even let Mac go out there for that last touchdown pass to Christian McCaffrey with only 9 seconds left and no timeouts. He trusted Mac to not take a sack, and he trusted Mac Jones to be in just execute the kind of decision making that would not lead to an interception, and he ended up putting a perfect ball on Christian McCaffrey in the corner of the end zone. It's one of those things where Christian McCaffrey is going to be in the Hall of Fame one day. Today, the 49ers still didn't run all that great, but it was much better than in week one against the better Seattle Seahawks run defense. That was the weakness for the Saints. But what happened is you saw the Saints really commit a lot to stopping the 49ers run game. They said, Mac, you're going to have to beat us. You're the QB2. You're going to have to beat us. And Mac Jones threw for nearly 300 yards in this game. Well, one of the daggers was the third down to Juwan Jennings. At one point, the 49ers were 8 of 12 on third downs in this one, and he hit Jennings on the post. But they couldn't quite get that final shot in to knock the Saints out of this game. Jennings, I know, dropped the third down slant there at the very end, so it did take the defense to close this game. Yeah, I have to, when I talk about the 49ers offense, though, it wasn't just Purdy who they were missing. This is a very, very shorthanded unit because Kyle Juszczyk suffered a concussion early. They obviously weren't with George Kittle in this game. He's on injured reserve. And for San Francisco, the just the blocking apparatus for the run game was down to a skeleton crew in this game. Ben Barch also got hurt, so they were going to the rookie 7th-round pick, Connor Colby. So you could see why the Saints were able to have a little bit more success than we expected in terms of run defense, and why they played this game to put the pressure on Mac Jones. But Mac did deliver with several nice throws. Another nice game for Ricky Pearsall. I think he's on his way to a 1,000-yard season. Put simply, the 49ers have a very, very good QB2 situation. They paid to upgrade it this offseason. They have upgraded that QB2 situation. It paid off for them today. Were they perfect offensively? No. But was it enough? Yes, it was 26 points on the road. A lot of 49ers fans here, by the way, at the Superdome. There was a loud, loud roar, like a deafening roar, when Jennings caught his 42-yard touchdown to put the 49ers up 26-14. And then obviously the crowd really got into it when the defense closed for San Francisco. Special teams, Eddie Pinheiro. We talked about him missing 10 extra points, having missed 10 extra points coming into this game. That was the big drawback on Eddie Pinheiro, and it's almost like the football gods have a sense of humor. Eddie missed his initial extra point for the 49ers, but then he came along and he drilled both of his field goal tries a little bit later on. Or were there 3 field goal tries by Eddie Pinheiro? He made multiple field goals in this game, and he was reliable from field goal range. He is the number 4 most accurate kicker by percentage of all time. He once held the number 3 spot, and if Eddie keeps on making kicks, maybe he'll be back up to that number 3 spot. So I think everybody can have a laugh about the missed extra point now. I know that Kyle Shanahan wasn't laughing at the time, but that was a big part of this football game as well. Special teams did not screw it up for San Francisco, which obviously is a huge, huge part of their formula. So you get what you paid for with Mac Jones. I mean, he's a slightly higher priced QB2, especially than what you had last year with Brandon Allen and Josh Dobbs. I thought Mac also ran the ball on one instance very well on an early touchdown drive for the 49ers. That ended up in Luke Farrell's first touchdown catch of this of his entire career, but obviously his first of this 2024 season as well. It's 2025 now. So Farrell picked up some slack, just like Jake Tonjes picked up some slack last week with George Kittle out. Christian McCaffrey and Brian Robinson both ran the ball decently well for San Francisco, which was huge for the 49ers, considering the fact that, after Kyle Juszczyk suffered that concussion, they really had to dig into creative blocking combinations. Braden Willis was elevated from the practice squad. They needed him for this game. You had Willis, you had Luke Farrell, you had Jake Tonjes, but you had no Juszczyk playing tight end because he played 15 snaps last week to help make up for Kittle. And you put a ton on Mac Jones. Mac, he had 23 pass attempts in the first half, and that was before Mac hit Jennings for the big touchdown in the second half. So he was really airing it out even after the intermission. But his 23rd pass attempt of this game to end the first half was to number 23, Christian McCaffrey. And I would say that Shanahan, the way that he played the end of that first half by staying aggressive with Mac Jones and seeing Mac carve his way down the field with Jennings on a big corner route with, I think Ricky Pearsall made a catch on that drive as well. And then with Christian McCaffrey, to be able to not give the ball back to the Saints, not expose the defense anymore than they had to be exposed, and to score a touchdown there that obviously gave the 49ers a bit of a cushion that they would hold on to at the end of the game. I thought that was probably one of the biggest moments here. There were a lot of big moments. There always are in these close games. I mean, you go back through it and you realize that happened, and that was a high leverage spot. In the second half, the Jennings third and long conversion, one of the 49ers' 8 third down conversions in this game, was a massive spot. That was a 42-yard touchdown that made this play erupt. And then you could also look at the defense at the very end, and that's what I led with. Closers. Saleh has said that he wants guys like Mariano Rivera to be able to go in there, not just save when all the chips are down. And the 49ers defense, even though it was not perfect in this game, the growing pains, can be frustrating, but the positives were definitely there for this unit. And I mean, you could start with Upton Stout blitzing in the first half with an excellent sack where he just threw Alvin Kamara to the ground, and then he threw Spencer Rattler to the ground in one play. I mean, Upton Stout, 21 bench press reps, the most of any cornerback at this combine. I think the 49ers are using him well, but it wasn't perfect for Upton Stout. He also lost a couple times in coverage today. They obviously beat Marquise Siegel, another shorter defensive back, with Juwan Johnson. The Saints did to pull themselves within 5 points, but It's a very famous score in 49ers history, 26-21. Not just the Super Bowl 16, which the 49ers won over the Bengals with Dan Buns delivering the goal line stop, but also the 2019 game, the final NFL game of the decade at Seattle. Dre Greenlaw stop on Jacob Hollister right at the goal line. That one was 26-21. I think the commonality of these famous 49ers 26-21 games had been closing ability. Obviously, Greenlaw to Hollister. Well, today was about closing ability for the 49ers, and it happened when they dialed up Nick Bosa, and they needed a 6-out save. It wasn't just the 3-out save because the offense couldn't close it right after them. Juwan Jennings dropped the pass right on 3rd down, so they had to punt it away again. But then it was Bryce Huff, whom Robert Saleh has literally called Mariano Rivera before, roaring around the edge with the speed rush that the 49ers traded for. They need that bookending force to push the pocket and do what they needed to do in those high leverage situations. 2018, 2017, 49ers lost a lot of games that looked like this. This youthful version of San Francisco, though, still has those A-list pillars. I mean, Fred Warner had a big pass breakup on that final drive as well. So between Warner, Bosa, and Bryce Huff, the 49ers have true studs who can deliver when the chips are down. And that is exactly what happened in this game. They've got to clean up the run defense. I think that New Orleans ran the ball a lot better than the Seahawks did last week, but there obviously is a lot to build off of for San Francisco. Whenever you can come into the road and win with your backup quarterback, down your all-pro tight end, with a bunch of other injuries on offense, whenever you could deliver in that situation as the 49ers did today to move to 2-0 ahead of a 2-game homestand, well, now they could even afford to drop one of those 2 games. So great win for the 49ers. I am headed down to the locker room here in New Orleans.